Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. We're going to talk about the loot obtained at Winter Offensive 2020 in Bowie, Maryland. This is Multi-Man Publishing's house event. It's held near their offices out in Maryland, and we were there. If you have not seen the After Action Report video, please watch that. It will have a great deal more detail on what happened there, what I did there, what my buddies did there, all kinds of neat stuff. There's news out of it. So today we're going to do some of the loot. The loot videos are going to be broken into two. This one will deal with the non-boxed game stuff that was obtained at Winter Offensive. So one of the things that they had, just, to get rid of them, were old Winter Offensive t-shirts. These were $2 a piece. I'm not sure this is a Winter Offensive t-shirt, actually. No, it totally is, from 2017. And, and we got one here. MMP on the back. And Winter Offensive 2018 here. They did not have an amazing array of sizes available in these, but these were $2 a piece. The ones from this year were substantially more expensive, and I felt like, although nobody said this, that you had to have pre-registered for the event to get one, so I did not get one. In addition, because the big new featured product was the new edition of Croix de Guerre. Please check out the upcoming video on that. They were a fabulous baby blue, which is not a color that works for me. So that was my other reason for not picking them up. Now, let's talk about other miscellaneous things that Multi-Man had laying around for sale. That included counter sheets. They had some boxes of counter sheets. Now, a lot of it was ASL. They had the last printing of For King and Country. They had 4 of the 6 British Order of Battle counter sheets. I don't have For King and Country. I have the old Avalon Hill modules. These are definitely nicer counters. And again, for $2 a piece, I was happy to pick up most of a British Order of Battle. The one that's missing here is the single-man counters, and actually the multi-man counters, the squads and half squads, are what's missing here. So that's unfortunate, but they'll eventually reprint For King and Country anyway. I have ASL release news in the After Action Report video, so check that out. Another thing that I picked up because, why not? Who doesn't need more OCS markers? I picked up 3 of these for $2 a piece. Do I need these? Of course, I obviously need these. These will get punched and clipped and sorted in with the rest of my OCS counters so that I have a robust selection of all of these things so that I don't have to hunt when I need, say, a 15 SP token or a railhead marker or a train busting marker or something like that. So I kid a little bit. I could have lived without them, to be honest, but they were cheap. They were there, and I picked 3 of them up. I almost bought 3 more, to be completely honest, at that price. Now, another thing that Multi-Man had in ample supply is the various Advanced Squad Leader scenario packs, whether they be action packs or Winter Offensive bonus packs or Oktoberfest scenario packs or whatever. The new one, my problem with those is I don't have an inventory of what I have. I have an inventory of everything else, a meticulously organized and maintained inventory, but not the Squad Leader add-ons and Advanced Squad Leader add-ons. So it wasn't clear to me exactly what I had, and I didn't want to double up on anything. But what I did buy, because I knew I didn't have this because it's new, is the Winter Offensive Bonus Pack number 11. This has 3 scenarios and a board. I am forgetting at this time what the ASL folks are calling this style of board. But essentially, instead of folding along the short edge, which a typical ASL board would do, and being one-sided, this folds along the long edge and is two-sided, but it is nevertheless fully isomorphic with the rest of the ASL boards. There's a decent number of these floating around now in various scenario packs. I think this is the only one that I have. I might, in fact, be mistaken about that. So we will be seeing what we can do with this. And I think the scenarios will use it, right? Maybe? Okay. So let's see what we got for scenarios. So we got the title page. This came in a plastic bag with a little card and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to see what was in it. On the back of the title card, we have a scenario, One-Eyed Jacques. This is the French versus the Germans in 1940. Near Boulogne-sur-Mer in France. I don't really know a whole lot about this particular engagement, but it looks interesting. It's modestly sized. 13A, that is this new board. So 13A and then 13B. So you can play that on just this one board in the set. Heroes Day. Let's look at 34 first and do them in numerical order. This is also on 13A, and this is Germans versus Canadians in 1943. 1943, Ortona, Italy. This is also on 13A, so that's going to be on this map as well. The third one, third and last, is actually British versus Indonesians. Sequential setup. That's something I haven't seen before, since I am not Mr. ASL. And I'm not sure what that entirely means, but I know it's not just like one side sets up and then the other side sets up. I would have to look at the details on what that is. And then this uses board 13A and 8B. I'm reasonably certain that I don't have 8B, so that is not of enormous use for me. But, you know, hey, it's another scenario. It's two more scenarios that I can use, and another one that hopefully I'll be able to complete in the future. So that's ASL Winter Offensive Bonus Pack 11. The action packs and the Oktoberfest packs tend to have more scenarios in them, but that's fine. It's not that expensive, and frankly, I have plenty of OC. I almost said OCS. I have plenty of ASL scenarios to play. Something else that they had for sale was their magazines. Now, they had a couple of different ones. They did have one copy that I saw of Operational Matters. That's the OCS magazine that contains Sicily 2. I have that, so I did not buy it. I have an aversion to buying doubles of things. But what I did buy is Special Ops number 3. Now, there's a couple of interesting things about this. One, the counter sheet contains errata counters for War Eagles Dare, which I have. There's a video about that from a little bit ago, so check that out. It also contains a victory complete to the Battle of Tannenberg 1914, which is not something... Honestly, I bought the magazine for the magazine and not the game. As a magazine, to buy for the magazine, it's a little pricey. Considering you get a game in it, it's a pretty good deal. So we've got the game, which is a full-size map of Tannenberg, and I guess I'll bust it out since I'm doing it. And a fairly handsome-looking map. Not sure who the artist is on here. Graphic artist is... oh, God, I can't read that. Francois van der Meulen. Francois van der Meulen, okay, and it's a designer by Magnus Nordlof and developer Adam Starkweather. And we get a counter sheet here with this. These are your more typical half-inch counters. I think this is the stuff for the Tannenberg game. The rest of this is all OCS stuff of some kind. There's some ASL scenario stuff in here. We'll see that in a minute. And I think there's probably some errata counters in there. I recognize some GTS scenarios down here, but I do not know offhand what they are for. But one of them is for No Question of Surrender, which I also don't have. So that's cool that there's a game in there. Rules to that are bound into the magazine. Article-wise, we have an article on a Victory Complete, which is this one from the International Game Series. This is an International Game Series game. Usually those are by non-American designers. We have, coming down the pike, new products coming from MMP. Now this is summer 2012, so actually it would be amusing to read that to see if there's anything there that hasn't come out yet. This is something about Fire in the Sky. We've got some ASL Starter Kit stuff, some ASL stuff, and we, as usual, have 4 ASL scenarios, 2 for regular ASL and 2 for Starter Kit. So those are the Tsar's Infernal Machines. This is Russians versus Germans in 1914. Okay, that's new. I haven't seen that before. What pieces do you use for this? Probably the ones on this counter sheet, actually. That's very interesting. And I had known that there were some World War I scenarios for ASL, but I had never actually seen one with my own eyes before. So this is the regular full ASL. The other one here is Third Time's the Charm, which is 1942. Russians versus Germans. In Sevastopol, actually, and then we get the victory complete stuff. I'm not going to go through every article, but I will. I know, because I know people are interested in the ASL scenarios, I will talk a little bit about those. So here's the 2 starter kit scenarios. This is the Poles versus the generic Axis, apparently. Not sure why they're marked Axis and not Germans, but Danzig, Poland, 1 September 1939. That's super early war. The next one is Workers Unite in Smolensk, Russia, 1941. Amusingly, I have an unboxing video of Smolensk Barbarossa Derailed coming, so check that out if you want to. Russians versus Germans here. These are 2 map scenarios. These are the little letter maps. What does that mean again? I'm not sure I remember. This one is board, I can't read it. This is board Z. Oh, these are the starter kit maps, dummy. I think I have all the starter kit maps, except for the Elst ones, which I don't have. But we got, some more stuff on ASL, MMP Ironman tournament, whatever that was, back in 2012 or 2013. So this is pretty old. I'm a little surprised that they still had it. But I'm glad that they did, because it had the errata counters that I wanted for War Eagles Dare. There's some stuff on the Civil War Brigade series in here, too, which is, I think, now officially defunct. It has more or less been replaced. Its place in the MMP array of topics has been taken by the Line of Battle series, which is a regimental series rather than a brigade series. So this is Special Ops number 3, summer 2012. We also picked up Special Ops issue number 8, which is from who knows when. But the game in here is Avenge Pearl Harbor, which is a fairly interesting looking card. A lot of components for a magazine game, actually. It's a fairly interesting looking Allies invading the Japanese islands scenario, and you get a counter sheet and a half and 4 sheets of cards. It's fairly elaborate and I think it's a half-size map. No, I am mistaken. That's a full-size map. It's an area movement game. I haven't really looked at it yet, but it's an interesting topic, and it's, like I said, fairly elaborate for a magazine game. What else is in here? So, at a glance, we have Learning to Play Operation Mercury. It just so happens that I have an unboxing video of Operation Mercury on the way, so check that out when it eventually hits the channel. Shining Heart. I actually read this already. This is a Dean Essig article on his thinking when he's designing these various game systems that he has designed. So we're taking a quick look at that. Fairly nice article on how to play GTS here too, or how to at least get started. CWB, so that's the Civil War Brigade series, Tactical Combat series, Operational Combat series. This goes clear through to the newest Battalion Combat series. Line of Battle is on here as well. So if you want to know a little bit in general about the design methodology of the various Dean Essig systems, and you don't have any of them, because a lot of this is in the designer's notes of those games, this is a nice little article. We have an article on the Autumn for Barbarossa game, which I want to say came out in issue number 7. That's possible. They didn't have that one, or I probably would have bought it. That is a standard combat series game on Barbarossa. It's actually a pretty nice looking game. They got some stuff on, I'm not sure if Red Barricades is the right way to put this, but it's in the barricade-y, so actually for all I know it's not Red Barricades at all. But we have some ASL scenarios in here as well. And looking at these, we have Reaper's Harvest, which is in France, 1944, Germans versus Canadians, Rots, France. And Nothing Left to Lose, scenario S63. This is Germans versus Russians in 1945. And again, this is a most of one board scenario. This is a one board scenario. Board P. These are the starter kit ones, actually. Okay, yeah, these are the starter kit ones, which is cool. And then beyond the Avenge Pearl Harbor article, we're going to have 2 regular ASL scenarios. Highland Frank, which looks like it's 2 boards, but you're only using about half of each of them, but there are some overlays as well. And this is Germans versus British in 1943 in Sicily. This is Forced Crossing. This is October 1944 in Russia. Germans versus Russians. Same type of board structure as we had in the other one, where it's 2 boards, you're using half of that total space or so, and there's a couple overlays in there as well. There's talk of a big overlay kit of MMP redoing all the overlays. I don't know where that's at. But I think they had talked about doing it at one point. The third Special Ops issue that I picked up is this guy, Special Ops number 9. I think this is the latest one. Summer 2019, so I believe this is the latest one. This contains the game Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, which is actually the game I thought I was getting when I bought this, I think. But no, they're separate things. And this, again, is a relatively elaborate magazine game. It's got 3 cards of cards. It's got a little player aid. It's got a half-size map. And it's got a set of 1-inch counters. Thank goodness I have a 3mm clipper to clip these things with. Very serviceable looking thing. Article-wise, there's some very interesting things in here. I bought these as much for they discounted stuff, right? So none of this was full price, although none of it was none of it was free either. But I bought these as much for the magazines as anything else. We have a big article from Joe Chacon about Front Toward Enemy, the Vietnam game that is now released from Multiman. I think it released around the same time, WBC-ish, as the Special Ops magazine. Something that I was into because this was mentioned to me that this was in here, is a huge scenario chronology for the Great Campaigns of the American Civil War series. This tells us where those are, what part of the war they take place in, how many turns they are. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of scenarios. And this should be up to date through Atlanta Is Ours, and indeed it is. So if, by the way, you would like to hear more about the Great Campaigns of the American Civil War series, including some series news that you may or may not know yet, please tune in to the appropriate video, which will be coming soon. So that was cool that this was in here. There's a database online of these, so it's not like you don't have that information. I have most, but not all of the games at this point. Here's a thing about the Squad Leader Starter Kit, ASL Starter Kit number 4, the Pacific one. This is pretty cool. Here's a big combined board. That's actually pretty cool too. And we have, as usual, some scenarios. And here's a starter kit for Sequence of Play 2. This is a very nice player rate. I looked at this already. So here is scenario S72. This is starter kit. It's in Italy in 1943. It's Americans versus Germans. It looks like, at a glance, a relatively tidy scenario. Only 6 turns. 5.5 turns? Yeah, I think so. And then West of the Vire, which is France 1944, which is, again, Germans and Americans. Here's our rules for Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. And here's our regular ASL scenarios. White Russians, which is June 1944 in France. So not actually Russians, Americans versus Germans. There's probably a reason for that name, and I'm not going to read it right now. And Purple Heart Hill, which is 1944 in Normandy. June 18th, to be specific. And this is Americans versus Germans as well. We've also got ASL Starter Kit Hedge Rules. Hedge Rules. Do we have hedge rules? I'll have to look at that. Here we have a nice article by Mr. Chip Saltzman about Smolensk, Barbarossa Derailed. It happens that there is an unboxing video of Smolensk, Barbarossa Derailed, which you'll eventually see on the channel, so keep an eye out for that if you are interested. I have also played Smolensk twice, actually, and enjoyed it tremendously. I will talk about that in its video. But if you're looking for a not exactly newbie-friendly OCS game, especially if you're trying to teach it to yourself, but not, it's not real big. It doesn't take that long to play. It's a very nice game and highlights all of the neat things that OCS does. Smolensk, Barbarossa Derailed. There's a big beefy article in here about it. Very happy to see this. This is another reason why I bought the magazine, because I bought Smolensk. And that was overdue, to be honest. I had there was simply foot dragging occurring. And here's something about VCS Kharkov. That's the Variable Combat series. The previous entry in the series was Salerno, I believe, and, well, it covered Salerno anyway. And this is a descendant, I am led to understand, of the old SPI Victory in the West system, suitably modified for, you know, the 21st century. So nice looking set of magazines. I'm particularly glad to get the t-shirts. I'll tell you a little personal thing about the t-shirts. And I might not have done this if they weren't $2. This is this guy. Very nice color. I like this color. It works well for me. Is an extra large, which is what I've been wearing for a long time. This guy, which I bought on the last day, is a large. And I've lost enough weight to wear it. So that's neat. Anyway, that aside, there will be a loot video part 2. So check that out. That will cover the box games. There's a bunch of them. There will be a bunch of unboxing videos as well. So stay tuned for all of that. And I hope that you have already watched the previously broadcast Winter Offensive recap videos. So check those out. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, please let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed watching it, please give me a thumbs up. And please subscribe to the channel and feel free to share the video around if I don't mention that, and I don't mention it enough. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.